Purchasing a house is one of, if not the biggest financial decision you're going to make in your life. And I feel that most people don't put enough thought into making that first decision, especially when purchasing their first house, because that's the most important one you're going to buy. The reason I say this is because the default for most Americans is to just go out and buy a single family house, and then once they start making some more money or they have a family and outgrow that first house, what they do is like a used car. They want to trade it in. So they put it on the market, sell it, and take the proceeds. Hopefully, if they made some money, they put it towards the next house that's bigger, nicer, and hopefully it'll last them a little bit longer until they want to move again. But when you're purchasing your first house, you can reap so many benefits as a first-time home buyer, like first-time homebuyer programs or low down payment loans. And this could present the perfect opportunity for you to purchase an investment property. And this is actually what I did personally at 20 years old. I purchased my first investment property. And the reason being for that was because I was 20 years old and I was just having the job that I had out of high school. So I wasn't getting paid that much money. And what I could afford for single family houses was not something I wanted to live in because it either needed a ton of work, it was very small, or it was just in horrible condition. So I looked for other opportunities. This is where I discovered what is called house hacking. And a lot of people don't know what this is, but they never actually asked to get clarification on what it is. And this goes for some agents too. Over the weekend, I was speaking to a few agents that thought they knew what house hacking was, but after me clarifying what it actually was, they had a whole different take on it and did not understand what it is. So essentially what house hacking is using your primary residence and somehow making money off of that primary residence. Now, the best way I have found to do that is by purchasing a small 2 to 4 unit investment property or small multifamily property. With this strategy, you're still able to use most of the loans and first-time homebuyer programs that you would be able to use if you were purchasing your first house and it was a single family property, except this, you're going to be able to get into a 2 to 4 unit property that is allowing you to create an additional stream of income, meaning rent, because you're going to be able to rent out the other units to help you actually put that rent towards your mortgage payment, which if you purchase it right, you'll either be living for a very reduced cost for free, or if you buy the right deal, you could even be making money while owning and living in the property. This way you take so much stress off having to make that high monthly mortgage payment, especially with interest rates nowadays and the raising home prices still going up and up and up. This will allow you to have someone else helping pay your mortgage and creating your equity to build your wealth. And in the same run of things is, since you're saving so much money on your mortgage payment because you're going to be living for a few $100 or maybe free, if not making money, you're going to have more money to be actually able to save. Because a big issue with people going out and buying the single family house as their first property is they spend as much as they can. So they go to the bank, see what they can get, and they see that top budget as that's the number that they should spend on a house. But what they don't understand is most of the time when you spend the top number you're allowed to spend, you almost create yourself into becoming house poor or house broke, which means, yes, you can make the payment, but you're not going to have a ton left over for activities, for having fun, for going out and traveling, or saving money so you can actually have money for your future self and invest in your future. When you go down this route of purchasing a small multifamily, one, you're creating additional income, helping you reduce your living costs, but you're also going to be investing in your future because when you move out of that property, instead of selling it and swapping it like you would for a single family, since you were able to save money during the time living there, you don't have to sell the property, that small multifamily. So you get to keep it and you get to rent out the unit you were also living in. So chances are you're going to be cash flowing, which is one thing you should check before you do make the purchase is, what happens when I move out of this property? Will it make sense? Will it cash flow? Because that's, of course, the point of an investment is to get you a return on your money. So doing that, instead of selling and swapping like you would for a single family, you just move out of that multifamily property, rent the unit you were living in, start creating cash flow, and then you go maybe buy another multifamily property, which is what I did in this property, Or you just say, hey, one's enough for an investment property. At least I'm getting more income and having some cash flow while also having a house that's getting paid down from someone else paying it. And you go purchase that single family you want, but now you're in a better position in life because one, you're older. Two, you're going to be making more money no matter what you look at it because now you have rental income coming in. And three, you're going to be able to afford more because of your situation in life. And the reason I really harp on this with doing it with your first property is because one, it's probably going to be the only time you have to really get the opportunity to buy an investment property like a rental property. Because if you're moving into that single family where you spent the top of your budget, and yes, you can make the payment, but you don't have any room to have savings, you're probably never going to be able to actually get a 20 to 25% down payment to put on an investment property because that's what you need if you're using it strictly as an investment. Where with this option, you get to go in with low down payment because you're using it as your first house and your primary residence, so you get to reap the rewards as such. Now, after saying all this stuff about how great house hacking is, there are some downsides. And the biggest one, I guess, it's really just one downside, and it's that you have to be a landlord, which means you create more responsibilities in your life because you're going to have to learn the basics of landlording, like how to screen tenants, place tenants, and how to actually handle tenants while they're in your property so you don't become one of those small-time landlords that is so stressed out because they didn't place their tenants the right way, so they had a horrible experience with rental properties and they swear to everyone they know, never get into rentals. It's a horrible business. You're just going to be up at 2 a.m. answering phone calls about broken toilets. I've been in this for 5 years. I've never had that happen. So if you do it the proper way and actually learn a few things before getting into it, you're going to put yourself in such a better position than someone that just does it off a limb. Now, like I said, this is personally the best way I found to house hack is by buying that small 2 to 4 unit multifamily property. But that's not the only way you can house hack. When I first described house hacking, it's essentially using your primary residence to create income. Now that can be creating any type of income. It doesn't have to completely cover your mortgage. It could just be renting out bedrooms. If you have a big enough house that you have spare bedrooms, rent out some bedrooms. Maybe rent out garage bays. People would love to pay for garage bays to store their stuff in. Or if you have a swimming pool, you can always rent out your swimming pool. Like, there's a ton of possibilities on how creative you want to get and how comfortable you feel with renting out certain facets of your house, and that's up to you. You can own a regular single family house and still create additional income, which means you're still house hacking. So some people think it's the only way to do it is buying a small multifamily, which is just not true. It's probably the one that you're going to be able to create the most money and live as low as possible, but it's not the only option. Now this, I just wanted to make a short video just going over what house hacking was to clarify for some people that just don't know or don't understand really what it is. But to get kind of more in depth on like how the house hacking process works, what you should be looking for, the types of properties to buy, check out my investing playlist here on YouTube. It has a ton of videos going over how I personally did it, how I made money on it, how I lived for free at 20 years old to create actually having the ability to save and buy another place that I'm living in now and doing the same thing. Then also in the description below, I'll have a link to my free ebook. Feel free to go over there, check it out, read through it, and it really dives a little bit into my story and more on like laying out what house hacking is, how to do it, and the best practices for that. So I hope you found this video useful. My name is Shane Moynihan. I'm a real estate agent and investor based out of Keene, New Hampshire. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest around the area, feel free to reach out to me. Or if you want to kind of find some more quick tips and just useful information, feel free to give my Instagram a follow. But until next time.